Thank you very much. It's so good to see you, so many people around here. Welcome, everyone. I hope you had a great conference so far. You found interesting topics to listen. And now we will talk about this presentation about test process improvement. Imagine that you are a tester or a test manager. You have your tools, you have your templates, documents, processes in place. You have a test team up and running, so everything is smooth. And then what? What would be your next move? We will talk about what to do at this stage, at this point in time, and we will also discuss about some real examples. My name is Zsolt Hargitai. As Tamás mentioned, I'm a co-founder of TesterLab. At TesterLab, we train testers and provide companies with testing workforce. In my past, I've used 3 different test improvement methodologies at multiple industries in many companies. And back in the old days, I was kind of shocked, impressed, how many methodologies are out there. You don't need to read the text on this chart, but every bubble represents a testing improvement methodology. So there are lots of methods are there. And many of them evolved in time, and seemingly there are a lot of options to choose from. But if the methods are there, some people and some companies, some test groups don't use it. They start to improve themselves, rather in an ad hoc way. And the only recommendation I would have at this point is to use a proven framework, because with a framework it will be much, much more easier. But why don't many companies use a test process improvement framework? Many don't even start an assessment. Why? If you have a test manager or a business unit leader or CEO who is not committed to go any further in this direction, then you as a tester will have a bottom-up fight. Many of these people just don't realize the value what the test process improvement could gain for their company in terms of really tangible ways. So I'm talking about money, the classical triangle of scope, time, cost. And some of these managers say that, oh no, we don't have enough money to spend on, we will save this money. But actually, this is totally misleading. It's the other way around. If you spend on improvement, you will gain money as a return on investment. Some of these companies do assessment, but many of these stop after some time, or at least slow down this process. Why? Because they don't allow the necessary efforts to go through the whole journey. There are more barriers, but I think these are the most crucial ones. What if someone follows a methodology? Why would they do it? Very simple, because it helps. It helps a lot. These numbers are coming from a worldwide assessment, so please just check how high these numbers are. These are amazing, actually. If you think about yourself, what if these numbers would represent your company? My good news is, I mean, for right now for you, for the testers, is that it is not needed to follow always a very long, detailed, and costly improvement assessment and follow a formal assessment. But sometimes, and in many of these cases, it is easy to use a so-called informal assessment, which is reachable for you, very fast, and doesn't require too many efforts. We've mentioned assessment, this word, many times by now, but a full improvement cycle is not only an assessment itself. As the ideal model suggests, you will start with setting up the scene with the company, with your client, agreeing agreeing on what is the scope, when and where the assessment will take place, and so on. And then you will do the diagnosing, which is the assessment itself. But this is checking the as-is situation of your team. And then you will have, during the establishing phase, an analyzable content, which is good because that will be the basis for your decision in which direction to move on. And then, and only then, comes the act phase, during which you will make the improvement within your processes. So you will step up to the next level during this phase. This is the longest, by the way. And this is followed by the result analysis, whether you reached our original goals or not. What about to see some real examples from those who already executed an improvement cycles? So let's see some examples from all over the world, and we will see two detailed cases from Hungary. This is coming from the already mentioned worldwide survey, and I picked this chart because I think this clearly shows the benefit what you can expect from such an improvement. And see the feedbacks. So many people gave a positive answer for the question, you know, what benefits have you experienced? For product quality, efficiency, compliance. The other Hungarian example, we did last year an informal assessment at a company called DAX. And they stated after the assessment that even the preparation for the assessment brought huge advantages. And now let's see two even more detailed examples from Hungary. First is Belasis. Belasis came to notice by producing the world's first modular proxy firewall. They were not satisfied with their internal processes. That was the starting point. So here we use TMMI early this year, and they are after assessing the current situation, and they are now at the establishing phase. The aim of Belasis were at the beginning to give a boost for their test processes, mainly focusing on the early testing. Also, they wanted to have a better planning and a clearer view what to test and in which depth to test. They wanted to know it already at the beginning of their releases. And also, which is also important, put an emphasis on their team structure, roles and responsibilities, and the people itself. These are the results because, and then again, we are after the diagnosing phase. They already know what to improve and in which order. So they are working on it, and they are thinking about optimized processes and not just having more and more and more people on board. And also, their basic test documentation is being reviewed now. Please read the quote from their engineering manager, Zsolt Hargitai. They are thinking about prevention now, which is very, very advanced way of thinking, by the way. And they are moving towards the act phase, coming this year, working on those topics what we agreed on before. And, which is also very advanced, they are already planning what will happen next year, and we will make a re-evaluation just to see, you know, the difference after a year. The next example is Digitsu. Digitsu serves DPD group with IT solutions. And this company had a very clear vision and very clear expectation from this assessment regarding the defects and traceability. Here in this case, we used the Agile TPI, and we executed a full life cycle. We did the first assessment in 2020, and 1.5 years later, and other assessment. And during this time, we made an improvement program. And during this improvement program, we identified the process of root cause analysis. We calculated the return on investment of their automation. We introduced risk analysis throughout the company and in many projects. We also improved the used test metrics, and we put heavy emphasis on their test organization, on their test team, on the testers, boosting their knowledge and boosting their professional communications through these examples, which are visible on the slide. And one of the most important slide, what I'm going to show you now, is the result after 1.5 years. The green cells represent those testing topics which are accepted, and the red ones which needs to be improved. And it clearly shows that the huge step Digitsu made during these 1.5 years. And during this journey we made together, I sensed two important factors. First is the steady management commitment throughout the whole program. And also the people, the team, the engaged people during these tasks. These are very crucial factors for success. Please read the CEO's words from János Ráti. His last sentence says, "The results exceeded our expectations." So what else a consultant can dream of anyway, right? So this was a huge improvement, and now they are going and continuing the program, and they want to spread it all over the Hungarian subsidiary. So the tangible benefits you can gain from a test process improvement is that you can measure the result of it. You can measure it in a very tangible way of scope, time, cost. And you can also calculate. You can calculate how much money you can gain as a result of investing into an improvement program, and it can be calculated. And a very underemphasized benefit of an improvement program, not many talks about it, that the satisfaction rate with their work of the testers will improve. And as a result, they stay longer at the company. The fluctuation rate reduces. That's a clear benefit for the company. And I like you to take away the following 5 thoughts. First is these models are not only for the big companies. It's very, very good to use in a small or medium enterprise. And actually, in a small or medium enterprise, you can implement it in a very faster way, much faster way. The second is that just knowing the cornerstone of how to do a process improvement is enough to start practicing it. So you can do it right now or tomorrow even, but it's much better and faster if you have someone who already has the knowledge, the right knowledge in place. The third is these methodologies are for all the stakeholders who are involved in software quality. Not only testers, but think about developers, business analysts, but especially managers. And many of these methodologies are independent of industries and software development life cycles, let it be V-model or Agile. And also in Agile, you have some processes, so it's relevant there as well. So there is just one question remains. Can you afford not to improve your testing? And hopefully your answer would be no by now. Thank you very much for listening.
Thank you very much, Zsolt. Very good timing. Now we have time for questions, and we already have a few questions. The first one, how long does or can an improvement cycle last?
It depends on the scope. Wait a second. When you start a full improvement program, you have to decide with the client what is the scope. Scope here means how many projects, how many business units. You know, even the full company can be assessed, so you have to decide. And based on this decision, you will see how many interviews you have to execute, and from here you will see after the interviews how big your task will be. You know, where are the problems, what needs to be, you know, accelerated or improved, and the consultant already have an overview and have a gut feeling how long will it take.
So if I understand it correctly, you're not going to a company and say it will last 3 days or 3 months or 3 years. So it depends on the results of the first assessment, right?
Exactly. And it can last, you know, a few months, half a year, 1.5 years. It depends also on the companies, how big and, you know, how much effort the company is willing to spend on the improvement as well.
Okay, thank you very much. Next question. Do we really need an improvement program when quality improvement should be a daily task?
Repeat it, please.
Do we really need an improvement program if quality improvement is a daily task anyway?
Is it? Can you measure it? How many of you do it, you know, on a daily basis, consciously? You know that you know I do something and okay, I'm executing my task, fine. But yeah, I've seen two hands. Here the key point is consciously, in a measurable way. Can you really measure that, okay, during, I don't know, like a month, you know, during the last month, I improved my processes with 5%. Really? So many people, and I do hope that you have your impression, you have the same impression that you want to do your job better, which is totally fine. But improvement frameworks give you a nice and measurable background for it. You know, it can show you clearly how big the improvement was, what you made during the, you know, past few weeks, months, or years.
Okay, thank you very much. Next question from Zsolt Hargitai. How can a smaller company benefit from improving testing?
Okay, it drives us back to, okay, I cannot go back. Anyway, so I show you the 3 clear benefits. The first is that you are going and you can step to the next level of, within your processes, so you will be faster, reliable, better, requiring less efforts for the same results. But second, which is very important for managers, but I just mentioned in a minute, you can measure it. You can show to the management that, hey, can you see the difference here? You saved here, I don't know, 100 million forints or so. And the third is the people. I mentioned here that the people stay longer at the company. Why? Because they feel more, you know, they feel better than, oh, after every month or every half a year, we have better processes, we have better results, and the outside world can see us, you know, as a better test team. So their self-esteem raise.
And motivation probably as well. And the motivation probably to come to the office or to work. Okay, the next question is from Gabor Savo, and it applies on the title of the presentation. Can there be situations where you can really afford not to improve testing? So is there a situation where we'd say, okay, now, right now we should not improve, maybe later?
I can imagine.
As far as I understand the question.
Yeah, such a situation imaginable, but only for a short term. You know, something unexpected happens at the company. Okay, and these 2 months we cannot focus on the improvement program. Okay, something like that can happen, but on a long term, I cannot imagine such a situation.
Okay, the next one is from András Nyíri. How do you balance time between improvement and new test development?
That again, new test development belongs to projects. Test process improvement belongs to the whole company. you know? Will you do something better on a long term? That belongs actually to the strategy of the company and not for a project. I don't know whether test case creation was the question. Yeah. So this question belongs to the management, and management should decide on.
Okay, thank you. So officially we are over, but we still have a couple of minutes, and I would like to use because we still have questions. The next one is from Agnes Voracek. What could be the biggest bottleneck of such an improvement process?
The first and the biggest, what I personally experienced, is the lack of management commitment. I know it sounds kind of buzzword, but this is really the case. I cannot tell you anything else for this question. If the management is not willing to push the whole team and not believing that, yes, we can do it better, then everything will be at least slowed down, but in many cases it stops, right? There are some people in the, here among the listeners who already sense this question or this answer.
Okay, and the very last question. How detailed suggestions do you provide as part of the consultancy? Do the companies figure out how they solve the issues themselves? So your suggestions, recommendations, as you provide as a consultant, how detailed are these? How specific?
The improvement programs.
Sorry?
The improvement programs.
I assume, yeah. How detailed suggestions you provide as part of the consultancy?
Oh, so I see. So as a result of the assessment, you mean?
I assume yes.
Yes, it's very detailed because it takes care of the processes, the tools, the people, the knowledge, everything which is important for testing. And this methodology actually takes the testing as a whole and divide it into pieces. You know, like TMMI divides into 16 process areas, but TPI Next as well. Everything, all of these methodologies deal with one part at a time, so it will be detailed, because for every small part of testing, every aspect of testing, you will have a result, whether it's good, whether it needs to be improved, in which way it needs to be improved, and the consultant will see the priorities, the differences, and also the dependencies between the process areas. And it will be discussed with the management as well.
Sorry, it was my question. I was more about...
Yeah, I need a microphone. Here.
Yeah, sorry. So it was more like about if you give suggestions on the improvements, like use this template, adapt this methodology, or are there any concrete improvement suggestions coming from you, or just the companies do them themselves?
Okay, after an assessment, I have a lot of recommendation, but it depends on the company which one will be taken, you know. If I suggest, I don't know, 3-4 different options, we have to analyze depending on the company's resources, needs, goals, strategy, and we will find the best solution for them. And once we have the decision, then we can work on it. And this is actually the improvement itself. You know, within the life cycle, this is the acting phase of the ideal model.